Hi, welcome to Build. My name is Michael Millerud. I'm a program manager for Windows Fundamentals, and I've been working on Windows Performance Analyzer, or what we call WPA, for several years now. This is one of many sessions that we're going to have at Build for you to learn how to use WPA. In this particular session, I'm going to show you how to customize WPA to easily get to the view that you want. So, you've probably seen a WPA by now, and you know that it takes time to get just the right kind of graphs into your analysis views before you can do analysis. With WPA profiles, you can actually do this with a single click. And with WPA sessions, you can actually also associate that configuration with a particular trace file. So you leave the session today knowing how to create and apply those profiles, and then also how to export and open the WPA sessions. So let's start with profiles. Main benefits are, of course, that it will remember the entirety of your WPA UI configuration, how you laid out your windows, and which graphs you put into the analysis views. In essence, it configures your WPA for your specific analysis needs. So I'd expect you to have, say, one profile for memory analysis, maybe for pool, one for heap, one for CPU analysis, etc. You can apply this to multiple traces, of course. So as you work with various traces and you want to look at, say, heap allocations, you would apply a heap analysis profile. And there's also a notion of a startup profile in WPA that gets auto-applied anytime you launch WPA. And once you configure the WPA just right for your needs, you can go and save that as a WPA startup profile, and I'll show you that as well. Alright, so let's do a demo of this. Here I have a blank Windows Performance Analyzer with no trace opened yet. I'm going to go and open a trace called all-ETL. This is a sample trace I keep using for many examples throughout Build because it has events of many different types and I can show many different graphs. So we're going to see some computation, some storage, some memory graphs. And say in this particular case, I really cared about doing storage-specific analysis, right? So I probably wanted to go and pick my storage KPI and then look at disk usage activity, and I would also probably care about looking at file I/O, right? And maybe this is the view that I start with anytime I want to do basic storage analysis. Check out where my file I/Os are going, look what kind of disk activity I have, and look at the overall disk utilization. Maybe I will want to do it actually by process. So it took me a while to get to that state. Let me go and use profiles. It's this menu here. And export a profile. Let me go to Documents, WPA files. And I can say here, disk analysis. I will say save. Now let me go and change this to something else. Say I actually cared about memory analysis and I was all about virtual allocations. So I'd copy my virtual allocation graphs. I probably also have my overall memory utilization at the very top. There you go. And I'd want to save that as well. So again, go to Profiles, to Export. And I would call this Memory Analysis, or maybe VAlloc Analysis. Now, if I close again all of my graphs, and this is a blank state that I would get to when I open a trace. If I were to go and apply a profile and choose disk analysis, magically all of the right graphs appear, right? And if I were to apply VAlloc analysis, all of my memory specific graphs that I chose appeared. So this really simplifies getting to the right kind of view in WPA quickly and saves you time when you do analysis. You'll see as you use ADK that many assessments provide their own profiles. So when you follow up on ADK issues in WPA, the view of WPA will be pre-configured to what you need to look at, which is very, very handy and saves you time. Now, profiles are very handy, but you still need to go and apply them. And if there is a certain specific configuration that you keep using WPA in, then it's much better to just save this as a startup profile. So let's say, I close this analysis view, open a new one. Let's say that I really want to start with looking at lifetime by process and computation and storage. Right? That's the default view that I actually want to always start my WPA session in. So what I can do is I can go and say save startup profile. It will ask me whether I want to override the startup profile. Remember that there was actually a profile file in WPA files folder right here called startup WPA profile. By the way, this is the extension. This is the extension for WPA profiles. So I will say override. And now if I close WPA and open a new one, so here's a new WPA instance, and I can close the old one. Anytime I open an ETL file, you will see that it restores just the right view that I care about, which again greatly saves me time, and I can jump right into analysis. So let's review what we just learned. I showed you how to create a profile, how to apply that profile afterwards, and then I also showed you how to customize WPA so that it starts just the way you want it. Let's now review what are WPA sessions. WPA sessions are actually not very different from profiles. In fact, they include all of the WPA profile information, but what they add on top is a pointer to a specific trace. And in particular, it remembers your time region selection. So if you apply your profile, yes, it will bring the graphs that you care about, but it will not select the time of interest, because obviously that depends on a trace. Now, if you want to collaborate with someone else, this is really great for analysis collaboration. So let's do a demo of this. Right, so let's go back to WPA and have the same exact trace opened. But this time around, let's look at computation. So I'm going to copy over computation KPI into my analysis view. And now let's say I'll switch to utilization by process and expand the table. And for instance, I got really curious about this activity and I wanted to follow up on that. Why are we having it here? So I could maybe zoom in on this region. Notice that the timeline underneath went now from 1 to 6. I can zoom even more. And now I'm going to go and highlight this particular region and say, I really want to collaborate with someone else to understand why this activity is happening. So what I would do in this case is I would go to File menu and choose Export Session. I would call this maybe Search Activity. Notice that the extension for this file will be .wpa. This is different from WPA profiles, which is .wpa profile. I would say Save. Now let's launch another instance of WPA. I do File, Open, just like an ETL file. And notice that there is multiple different extensions I can open in WPA, and like Xproof, which does only ETL, WPA also does .wp and .xml. .wpa is a session file that we've created. .xml is a ADK assessment output file, and you're welcome to look at another session that covers that. But let's open the search activity that we just created. So what you will see is that Windows Performance Analyzer restores the same view. It got me to the same graph, just like a profile would, but it also restored my selection. And it also restored my zoom. So compare this to this. You will see the WPA really went and restored exactly the same view for me. So now I could take that file which is an XML file, the ETL file, send them over, maybe zip, so I compress the size of ETL, send them over to someone else. They can open the search activity and it will open them that old ETL file exactly with the view that you saw on your screen, which is really great for collaboration. So let's summarize what we just saw. I showed you how to export a session after you configured your WPA just the way you wanted it, and then how to open that session and get back to the same zoom and selection that you had previously. So what did we learn today? You saw how to use the WPA profile and session and what those are. And you can now use them to both reduce the amount of time you spend in analyzing traces, what we call MPI, which is minutes per incident, the amount of time you spend analyzing a given issue. And then also to enable collaboration with others, because you can take those profiles and sessions and send them over to someone else so they don't have to go and reconfigure WPA just the way you were seeing it. You don't have to type that email anymore. Just send a single XML file with ETL. They can get to exactly the same view you were using. Here is a list of several related sessions that are specific to WPA that I invite you to also watch or attend, as well as some documentation articles. Down below the right corner there is contact, which is WPT forum. We actually have a forum online where you can go and participate, both just read what people have to say about WPA as well as ask questions. So I invite you to use all of those resources to learn more about WPA and use this in your daily work. Thank you very much for watching this.